Before this video begins, I just want to remind everyone that the Patreon is back up and running, and the merch store has officially reopened. So if you want to support me beyond a subscription, there you go, 2 absolutely massive ways to do so. And if you like what you see on the merch store, let me know in the comments or on Blue Sky what you would want to see next. Anyway, on with the video. I know everyone is expecting a big video to finally celebrate the confirmation of Edwin Murray and Tiger Rock's existence in the FNaF games. And if you aren't, chances are what I just said makes 0 sense to you whatsoever, and it will continue to not make sense because I'm just not gonna do that. I'll take this victory in stride. I don't see any reason to rub it in people's noses or anything like that because hey, at the end of the day we're all arguing about electronic bears, so who actually gives a shit if they're right or wrong? I will say there's a level of vindication I feel about being proven right way back when I said in this video on screen now that Tiger Rock will appear in Help Wanted 2. And while he didn't appear at launch, I was apparently playing the longest con ever, because he's in there now as of December of 2024, after the game has been out since December of 2023. So instead of just gloating, which I fully reserve the right to do by the way, I'm instead going to be crafting a new theory because yes, I'm back in there baby. We'll be diving through the short but packed content update that is Help Wanted 2, Tiger Rock is here, bitches. Yeah, that. So, in order to unlock this new content, you have to have beaten the game previously, and by that I mean collected both endings. I believe anyway. Help Wanted 2 is not a very long game, and I've yet to see someone who hasn't beaten the game go through this update. But as I've heard, you do need to have beaten the game for this to work. However, you don't need every collectible from the prize machine, so if you're still working your way through that, don't worry, you're not locked out of any content. Loading into the game, Mystic Hippo will tell you that she has a new button for you to press, and this button will essentially give you hints as to how to progress through the update. The first thing you need to do is enter the sister location levels. Mystic Hippo will tell you to enter a code, which you can do through the cabinet on your left hand side. You'll know you're in the right level because of the picture of Jackie, and also because Mystic Hippo tells you it's your second night, which means the Ballora level. So typing in the code will make Glitchtrap hand you a new plushie, Tiger Rock. Tiger Rock will then appear in the hub world and you'll have a new model to put on stage, the Mimic. Once the Mimic is up there, you can pick up an item and throw it at him. It doesn't seem to matter what item or how hard you throw it, he'll scream and the door to your left will open up. Walk through here and on the other side will be Jackie's box from the Secret of the Mimic teaser. Wind it up, playing My Grandfather Clock, and when it opens the screen will go dark. A voice that is likely Jackie will say, "Time to play!" And when the lights come back on, there will be a jigsaw puzzle with one piece. John Kramer? Your job now is to collect the various puzzle pieces from throughout the game. There will be 2 in the hub, 1 in DJ Music Man, 1 in Arts and Crafts, 1 in Endo Training, 1 in Cinder Carousel, 1 in Fazer Blast, 1 in Bonnie Bowling, 1 in the break rooms, and 1 in Fizzy Faz. I definitely missed 1 or 2 on the list, but honestly, collecting these puzzle pieces kinda gave me a headache. Collecting them will give you 2 prizes, 1 in the AR world and 1 in the real world. The real world prize is a van with the Mexus machine. Get the code from the other prize, the gift shop, and punch it in to see Mexus try to attack you, only for the van to pull away. Roll credits. Now, what does any of this mean? Well, not a lot on its own, but we're theorists. We look for meaning in the meaningless. So let's start with Tiger Rock himself. First off, this thing is ugly and adorable simultaneously, and I want one. If anyone in my audience is capable of making a game-accurate Tiger Rock plush, please let me know, because I will for sure be commissioning it from you. I want this thing badly. Anyway, there's a few key details here we should be looking at. First off, this thing shares design elements with a lot of other characters. Its general head and mouth shape is most reminiscent of the Glitchtrap suit, along with the stitching texture and location of the stitches. But then its eyes are most reminiscent of Vanny's, albeit 2 different colors instead of the solid red. Furthermore, its proportions as well as the zipper on the back make it seem like the mascot costumes from Ruin. All in all, the impression I get here is that this Tiger Rock plush is the blueprint design that the Mimic's avatars or servants stem from. But there's a detail about this plush that you wouldn't notice by simply looking at it from the outside. If you clip into it, you'll see behind a layer of foam and fluff is what appears to be bloody flesh. What does this mean? It's hard to say necessarily, but I do have a couple ideas. Option 1. This doll, similar to the FNaF 1 animatronics, is possessed because there is a body inside of it. I don't know how accurate this would be considering it's not really a body and more of a mound of flesh or a hole inside this dude, but it's possible. Likely? Probably not. And it's worth noting that this is the plushie's appearance in the digital world. He never appears in the real world, so it's possible that this digital plushie only has this disturbing feature there. It could be symbolic, like saying, "I'm here," or "this is my real body," or something along those lines. Or who knows, maybe Edwin put his son's dead body in there and said good as new, a la Poppy Playtime. Option 2, and this is one people are not going to like. Agony Monster. Yep, throughout the Fazbear Frights book series we've seen dolls and animatronics with similar flesh, and it's because they've been mutated by agony. This includes Pit Trap, Eleanor, and Plush Trap, all of whom had some odd flesh and or bone in them that shouldn't be a part of a mechanical being. So it's possible that when Edwin poured his agony into the Mimic, it manifested as organic flesh inside the Tiger Rock plush. That's just a thought though, and not necessarily true. Who knows? Maybe in another year I'll be right again. That's disturbing enough on its own, but I definitely want to talk about this thing's outward appearance a bit more. It looks really weird, like really weird. But I think that part of that may be we're only looking at it as a plushie. If you scaled this thing up and made some slight adjustments, the zipper in the back makes a lot more sense. It's a suit, not all that different from one the Mimic would already be wearing. It just leads me to believe that maybe in Secret of the Mimic, which this whole update seems to be preparing us for, we will be presented with a full-bodied Tiger Rock suit. Moving on, let's talk about the gift shop. The gift shop itself doesn't seem to originate from the Mimic's short story or any other FNaF story. It doesn't appear to be related to the factory we were told the game will take place in, outside of maybe the geography, considering the factory appears to be in the background of the puzzle. So in my opinion, we could be looking at something more unique. There's also the Mex's van. Let me continue. This is the other prize you get aside from the gift shop, some company van with the Mexis machine inside of it. And if you think it's a stretch to say company van when there's no visible logos or details, I have to tell you I am not kidding. Because if you no-clip and turn off lighting, it literally says company name on the hood. So this is definitely a company van, even if Steel Wool is being coy about what company it is. Then again, this could be a bought asset from somewhere else. If you find this asset anywhere, let me know. But we do actually get a company name in this update. Kind of. We get an acronym. MCM. This is the acronym attached to the double vision puzzle you solve, but its letters go unexplained. However, I think I have an idea about what it could stand for. Considering how tied this update is to the Mimic's book origins, I don't think it's a stretch to say that one of these M's stands for Murray, after of course Edwin Murray, who created the Mimic. But what do the C and the other M's stand for? Hear me out. Costumes and masks. Murray's job at the factory working for Fazbear was to turn costumes into animatronics, but it's possible that he was doing this under his own company's name. I know 5 Laps at Freddy's tells us Edwin's company is named Murray Co., but that billboard is also advertising his original Hugbot. It's possible in my opinion that Edwin is working for Fazbear under the MCM label after the Hugbot. But why costumes and masks? Costumes just make sense, but why masks? Well, masks are one of the most recurring motifs in recent FNaF memory. Think back now. The supposed Halloween mask Tape Girl mentions, the Vanny mask, the familiar Bonnie mask. Even one of the therapists mentions that Patient 47 loves masks because they can disguise themselves. Masks are such a big motif in the most recent games because they help someone be someone that they aren't, and the gift shop only supports this with one of the key signs on it reading, masks. And what does MCM have to do with anything? Look at the logo. Seem familiar? Well, it seemed familiar to me, so I went ahead and looked back on recent FNaF games to try and find any similar designs so that we could link it to MCM. And that brought me here, the Michael Afton room from Security Breach. The wall code seems to be made up of the same characters that make up the logo for MCM. I'm not necessarily saying that it's one-to-one, but I think the connection is there. So, what the fuck does this mean? I don't know, quit asking questions. With all that being said, I still have some lingering questions, like why is there a picture of Jackie in specifically Sister Location Night 2? What does Mexis have to do with the rest of the game? What else are we missing? And well, I might have an answer, but it could also be a shot in the dark. For a while now, we've known that the machine Mexis resides in is very old. According to Steel Wool themselves, that is intentional. It wasn't understood why then that it would be brought to the Pizzaplex or if it had just always existed there. And now I think we're going to get our answer. The van could be an MCM van. And I believe that whatever it is, it's bringing Mexis to the factory. We know that Secret of the Mimic in some capacity will take place in 1979, but looking at this teaser, a lot of it also makes me think it could be a sequel of some kind. So here's my thinking, an evolution of Help Wanted 2 and Ruin's Vanny Mask. Picture this, Secret of the Mimic comes after the events of Ruin, and Cassie has been abducted. Gregory and Vanessa then go to find her in the Mimic's original stomping grounds, and using some variation of the Vanny mask, perhaps from the mask gift shop, they'll be able to see the past and the present. That Jackie we saw in the initial teaser, the one that looks so gross and withered compared to the other one, what if that's showing us Jackie's age? Its withered appearance comes from time and age, and the Mimic will occupy the old animatronic's shell. I think this would explain Mexis being a part of this teaser, because Mexis is pretty much the best line of defense against the Mimic. Gregory and Vanessa would be bringing Mexis back to the factory, and if that's the case, it doesn't even have to be an MCM van. It could be one of the vans from the Pizzaplex itself. I just think there's a lot of different possibilities if this is the story Steel Wool is doing. Do I have anything more than a feeling? A hunch? No, not really. But a lot of these games as of late have felt like a merging of past and present. And I think this is a natural conclusion to that, by having both being told at the same time. But hunches are like lunches, I eat them for breakfast. What else is there to talk about? Honestly, not a whole lot. Most of what this teaser did was confirm the books being canon or otherwise creating more questions than answers. The little theory I threw out there was based on vibes alone. I genuinely don't think Steel Wool is going to wait another game before we find out what happened to Gregory and Cassie, but who knows? Half the time Steel Wool puts out a game and we think, oh that's cool, but there's not much here, and then a content update comes out and completely destroys the entire fucking meta for the next few years.
If I had a nickel for every time Steel Wool put out a DLC/content update for a game that was otherwise on the lacking side in terms of lore and story, and fill it with insane lore development, I'd have 3 nickels. Which isn't a lot, but it's weird it happened thrice.
Anyways, that's likely going to be it from me today, and maybe it from me for a while. In terms of these more scripted videos anyway, I have to admit it's gotten very draining, especially since content-wise, there's not a lot I want to talk about anymore. Everything is either not out yet or I've already talked about it. So in the meantime, enjoy some more gameplay-oriented videos from me. I may go back and make videos out of certain streams like Alien Isolation Drunk or some others. But until then, I'm Demuted. Be sure to like and subscribe, and peace.